Also, pretty hard sleep. What is it? Oops. What you do? Ew.
You're gonna catch up later, man.
Really? Listen. All in the same. So what do you know about it?
Well, I know it gave me a lot of trouble as a kid. Yeah, well, me not being very good at it and just losing a lot.
Something you might have missed. Really? And what? Yes. And then you do.
That's it's kind of like in Mega Man 7 on Super Nintendo, where the sprites also are super big.
And then see. Is it? Very much. Oh, the mountain and even all of the new parachute apparently. That's one of the easiest stages for it. Eight.
Yeah, I did. I recently tried to beat this game, but I lost my patience really fast and postponed it to another day. On Sunday, actually. Oh well, that's tomorrow for me right now, because it's 2 a.m. in the morning right now for me.
Okay. Finance will be pretty long stage. Very precise. Accuracy. Is focus.
What a mean stage that was.
Can actually mean it to
Nice.
probably the best. Also, very easy. Okay. Sure. Okay. Okay. Hello. Okay. Oh wow. That drop was able to get even. Actually, you want to you know, and the game.
It's kind of a weird decision to just throw 4 bosses at you that you've not seen before in the game. If you're used to the NES games at least.
Oh, and coming up. To the same. Cycle. Which you never know. Too bad that you gave me. Incurred of alcohol. kind of last year. Here. It's really hard. Main concern is going into the essay. My opinion would be yeah, man.
Yeah, yeah. I did some runs on that. Yeah, I guess one day I will come to this.
Very good. Here we have.
And we're getting some kitty cam hype right now. Kitty cam. Yeah. Cat is all hyped for the Mega Man runs.
We use this on the competitor. Oh, that is it. Yes. Here we have it. Here. This is decent Korean. This is the stage of what to do, right? No, that's better. very easy skills. Something like this. Good.
Nice job.
Try. I think this game is a bit more in your element.
Yeah,
Here.
I'll have a bit more to talk about in this game. So we're starting off with Metal Man stage, where you basically do a lot of you take a lot of damage and try to rush through the beginning of the stage. You need a bit of luck for the pattern of those little screws or ice cone things that come out of the floor. So you want to get through this part as fast as possible with as much health as possible. Yeah, if you really want to, like if you're going for PB, you'll tank a lot of hits and just pray for some health at the end of the stage, of course. There's a lot of enemies that can give you health. So yeah, that's pretty much the first part of the stage. In the second part, you, depending on how much health you have, you can like boost through a lot of the enemies, or take the bit slower approach to shoot them. And ideally you have 5 bars of health at the end of the stage where you face the boss, because you can do a little glitched fight. Since the boss room that never happened. So yeah, the boss room is actually too small for the jumps that Metal Man wants to do, and so you can get him in a weird glitched position, which makes the fight a lot easier. Poor Metal Man. Yeah, it was like a good spot to die, because the checkpoint was very close. Yeah, that's exactly. Like that's what happens when you try to get really fast through the first part of the stage. So it's not uncommon for that. So next stage is Woodman stage, where you use the metal blades a lot and shoot those rabbits. They basically slide and shoot. Try to go fast there with as less damage as possible. Alright. So we're gonna get some Rush Marine hype. So there's actually 2 routes that you can go. You can go with a Marine, or you can go the upper route. The upper route is a little more dangerous, because you have to tank some damage, and yeah, like it can be dangerous. There is the possibility to die, so it makes sense to go for Marine here, even though there are 2 huge health boosts. But yeah, you don't want to risk dying in a run like this. And I think it only saves you like 2 or 3 seconds if everything goes as planned to go the other route. So here we have some of the infamous chickens, and funny enough, they here die with 1 shot of the metal blade, where in the original NES game they don't get hit by the metal blade. Not much to say about the boss fight. You just try to go through the shield, and yeah, it's a quick one. still very nice. So next up, next up, Airman stage, and yeah, you were saying you're playing the European version? Yeah. So yeah, like that. There are some minor differences. There's a block. We'll talk about that later when we come there. So you will try to conserve your wood ammunition for the last fight. You can destroy all those little cloud guys with a weapon, and since Mannix got a little weapon refill, even two, you can go through here without any trouble at all. If you don't get one, you won't have enough ammunition to destroy the airman, so that was pretty good. And you can just mash when you enter the room, and the leaf shield will deal double damage on airman, and then it's only one hit left. Oh, even three. I missed one. Well, that was pretty good. Those slight strats can be a bit scary at times. So the last of the 4 stages is Clashman stage, or Crashman if you want to. This is a bit of an annoying stage because it's just a climbing stage, so you will use Brush Jet a lot here to climb faster or skip the climbing. This is one of the harder fights of this game, I would say, because you have exact ammunition for the fight and even need to get one buster shot in, so you actually don't have enough ammunition. Yeah, makes total sense. It's a scary boss. Now, there's an, like, on that ladder, the end spot of the ladder is somehow set before the ladder ends, so if you jump on that, you will stand on it instead of being able to grab the ladder, so that's a bit weird. Yeah, and now I read letters in the chat, and that's another thing in this game. Like, when you climb on ladders, you want to make sure to just push up and nothing else, because if you just slightly think about pressing left or right, Megman won't move on the ladder.
Didn't care how long it was.
Yeah, that's such a horrible fight.
But you guys need to have it straight.
Now or never.
So one thing is show me that. And
Oh yeah, that's a funny thing. Do it, do it. Well, he's just too good at escaping. So now we're getting 4 more Robot Masters, and this time we're getting full stages for them. And yeah, those are the first half of the Mega Man 3 Masters, if you want to say it that way. So in this run you use the metal blades a lot, they come pretty in handy. And yeah, you're using Rush Jet to fly over the horrible Yoku Block section. Yeah, that's a thing worth mentioning, because in those 4 stages that come now, the weapon energy won't refill after a stage. So this is basically like in the Wily stages for the NES games. So you need to conserve that ammunition. Now that fight can be scary at times, because you will mostly come to the room with not a lot of health, but pretty good. And this stage we get one of the most important weapons of this game, because you can do some zips with this weapon.
Alright.
For the stage, like you can go for some rush coil action, which will save you a bit of time for the climbing. And other than that, you try to avoid the bees. You need to take some damage from those crazy apes.
Touch those.
No, you never want to touch the crazy apes. If you time that boss fight correctly, it's a pretty easy fight. You just don't want to get smashed by him.
Oh, the slowest I've ever done.
That's everything that matters.
There is
Now reveal the scene, of course. So next up is Topman stage, and we're about to see some more Rush Marine action.
closure.
So there are 2 types of, or 2 ways to get zips in this game. Like when you transition a screen coming from up and shoot the hard knuckle. Like when you shoot the hard knuckle, Mega Man will be in the air for a bit, so the game gets confused when you do that in the moment the screen wants to transition. And it will put you down. On the ladders it's easier to set it up than when you're falling. Yeah, well, we're gonna see those again in the Wily stage.
He's good. Game doesn't have
No one has ever seen the rest of the stage. No speedrunner. On the bright side, you saved up a bit of the ammunition for the hot knuckle.
it. The game that I have. Full set.
Well, you're doing good, so no need to worry. So this. No worries. I just get confused. Yeah, this is the last of the robot stages, and this is one of the meaner stages, I would say. And there are 2 strats to go for the speedrun. You can either go for an E-tank in this stage or play it safe and take less damage. That seems like a good plan to me for a marathon run like this. So, since you want to defeat Needleman with his weakness, which is the infamous dance move that you learn from Top Man, and you're bound to take some damage from him while dancing, and so the E-tank is necessary if you play the stage risky. Yeah, full health definitely helps. Let's just... This dance move is pretty cool, but as a weapon, not very effective. And now we're gonna witness a very weird Wily stage. Because we see Mega Man fly up in space. Oh no, wait, I forgot. Forgot about my friend Quinn. How could I forget about him? So yeah, that's one weird fight. According to the manual, Quint is a Mega Man from the future. I don't know, very weird stuff. But anyways, we're flying into space, heading into Wily's spaceship, and then suddenly we are in the Twilight Zone. I don't know what happened there, but... And one last time, Rush Marine action. This game has a lot of love for Rush Marine. for the rest of the stage, you will use Rush Jet. You can fly over some parts of it faster, and you actually use Rush Jet for the first phase of the Wily Machine, and for the second phase we will see very weird weapon, the pogo stick that Quint has used. Yeah, I don't dare trying to pronounce that. Yeah, like that. It won't happen. So the fights are simple enough, but there is a chance of soft-locking the game if you destroy the Wily Machine too far to the right, so that's one thing to be careful about. And for the first phase it's mostly flying on Rush and shooting him. Depending on how you played, you can have a little less Rush Jet ammunition, but that's just fine. And yeah, the pogo stick is a bit weird because you take damage while using it on Wily, and it loses ammunition in that moment you wait. Yeah, it's all good, and the last phase is pretty much like the first phase but without a Rush Jet. And it's kinda like it's not too hard to avoid all the stuff he throws at you. You can get double hits in. So pretty solid.
I don't have any commentary here, you're welcome to.
Yeah, like it's 2:30 a.m. right now, so I guess I'm gonna leave you right now. Yeah, this was cool. Thanks for having me, man. And good luck for the rest of the run. I'll be hanging around for another 10 minutes in the chat or so before I get to bed. And yeah. Take care, man. Bye, everyone.
Right now. The different mechanics on the fly. I believe Strizer is joining me at this point. So this boss, you hope that he's sliding. He's not doing that. Oh, he slides when I didn't want him to, though. Yeah. I don't know if you want to ping Mr. Cab. He said he might come for 4
and whatnot.
I wasn't sure.
If, you guys hear anything funky going on.
By the way, awesome marathon so far. This is Sparkman stage. It's a pretty fun stage, but it's a very calculated stage. Your ammo and your HP. So you see the first use of the Shadow Blade, which is definitely overpowered. I got one of the notorious jumps. I know Strizer really hates this game just because of this one jump later. So we got a refill there. That's actually important because sometimes you can run out of ammo. That won't be a problem. Here there's a lot of lag. I should mention that sliding in this game reduces lag, so you'll see me doing it where I can. Coming up is a spike fall. It's actually less scary than it looks. I'm going to use a specific setup here that will fall right straight down. By the way, if any of you are interested in joining the commentary box for this game, you're more than welcome to. Like, I wanted this marathon to be a little more on the fun side. So if you just want to hang out, that's fine. And it might be a little easier than Strizer having to do it. So this boss, you want him to do just not that. I'm not even gonna land on the stop. So one thing about this game, when you kill a boss, you want to end in because Mega Man will walk or jump to the middle before he teleports out of the stage. And he also won't start walking until all the particles of the boss have cleared the level. So you also want to try to kill the boss in the middle as well. Coming up is the Snake Man stage. The Snake Man stage is a lot of fun, a lot of sliding and moving mechanics. Also, arguably one of the best retro Mega Man songs in any soundtracks. Not just this game. So we'll be killing the giant snakes in this one. We cannot fly over them, or if we can, it's not a time save. I haven't looked into it.
Snake.
What's that?
Snake.
Badger, 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 badger.
Mushrooms.
So are you getting the echo you were not hoping for?
No, I inevitably turned down the game volume a little bit just because the stream volume itself is a little bit low, so I figured it's better that you and I be able to talk and to communicate, and you can hear yourself better through the Discord channel, to be honest.
I do, yeah. So Strider, can you tell me a little bit of what you know about this game?
I know that I want to like it for the sake of being able to do this one, the NES one, and the Wily Wars one all back to back and call it like Mega Man 33 or something, but it's just a hard time.
Yeah, this game is definitely difficult, but it's extremely rewarding. Other games like this one I can think of is Metroid on Nintendo. Like, they're impossible games, but once you accomplish something in them, like, you feel very, very rewarded. Like, where speedrunning is worth a lot. If you have any donations and stuff to read, maybe now would be a good time.
We don't have any new ones at the moment, but we still have reached 2/3 of the weekend goal within the first day, and we've still got quite a few hours left, so thank you everybody for that. That's absolutely amazing, and thank you to yourself and all of the other runners for coming together in such short notice. It's gonna be good times both now and ahead.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Good start, and there's lots of time. Like you said, lots of good games coming up. So the game starts ramping up in difficulty here. Going in Gemini stage, which has the penguin section that you might be familiar from the NES. No flying flames, though, just dragonfly. Oh, little mishap there. We're good.
Are you still able to hear me if you turn off and you mute the Discord conversation in your stream?
How would I do that?
You would just... You're playing on console, right? So you would just mute whatever the desktop audio is opposed to the game source. Like your capture card has its own audio slider, doesn't it?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. So if you just mute the desktop audio on OBS and crank the game audio, I can put in the game audio and then I can just use the Discord conversation between you and I for commentary.
Okay. I will try to do that once I...
Yeah, no, take your time. Don't rush it. But then we can get the best of both worlds.
Is that going to work with Cab as well after? Or?
Yep, because then I can capture Cab through the Discord room and I can just stay in myself.
My only difference is, well, maybe it'll be fine. I don't know how my sound is without the plugins. Should be okay. I'm going to take it safe here because you can die from drops. So the Gemini fight is a lot of fun, so we'll use a combination of snake to kill him.
I missed the lovely feature of Mega Man 2 Game Boy where you can move while you restore health.
Yeah, that's actually the only one that you can. Alright, so mute this audio, that's done. And crank my game volume, it's 40% right now. So 50. It's halfway right now. How would I determine if it's okay?
I'll let you know 1 second.
Okay. So this is Giant Susie, the shortest stage of the game. It's basically just a Giant Susie, that's what it is. It is weak to spark. It has random patterns and it can shake the ground and you lose your footing and can't move. Like that. That was okay. And we're off to the most difficult stage of the game, to my standards, Dust Man. To all the Dust Sucks emotes. I probably won't talk a lot for this stage, I apologize in advance.
Alright, that sounds great. Thanks for tuning that up on the fly, that sounds really good.
Perfect. So everything in this stage is pretty much tiptoe jumps, spike falls, death falls. Like, it was Capcom's idea of a fun stage, is maybe only for the top end players. Good music though, that doesn't change. Those take 7 or 8 Shadow Blades. We're coming up to the infamous, oh come on, the moving wall that you have to break down, whatever it's called.
Oh, the Crusher.
Yes. Hit will prevent the one cycle, but I'm not dead.
One cycle is better than the done cycle.
You have a name for everything. I played like 26 of these games.
There's a lot of things in Mega Man that deserve a name.
Alright, full focus here. Yes. Those jumps are ridiculous.
I can confirm that.
Here's a mandatory rush coil that doesn't come often. Actually, I'll just kill him. He's annoying. Right now. Don't mind doing this stage deathless, even if it's slow. I have taken 2-3 game overs in this run at this stage alone. So I have some inner happiness right now. I do have to contain it though, this game is not over.
Intense rush jumps.
Ooh, we got the jet jump. I don't remember what those enemies are called. Shield jets. So in this one, you can't stop Dust from doing his sucking when he starts, and it's a mandatory 5 seconds that you lose every time he does it. So a lot of world record runs get reset right here, even if you had a perfect stage. Oops, I didn't want to get hit. Alright. We're through. Pretty happy with that. So in case people are wondering on my pace, my PB pace, starting Mega Man 3 I was 51 seconds behind. However, I'm well ahead right now because I took like 8 minutes to do this stage, so fingers crossed that I can keep the pace on all these other difficult stages left. The world record is 2 hours. Tremaine is still with us. He is the world record holder. I believe I mentioned that, but why not twice? I'm just gonna kill this bat. I didn't need to. Oh, I didn't need him. I'm gonna switch to Shadow here to take this part a little bit easier. You can deboost all the bats, but again, falling in those pits, you can't get out. I believe there's one of them you can get out, but definitely beats doing the whole stage again. So worth mention as well, sometimes I charge more than I should, but it does slow down the game a little bit when you charge. And that drop was probably the worst drop I've ever seen. Wow. I started the stage over. I should have waited until it was cleared. Switch back to Shadow once more. By the way, shoutouts to Strider for handling this all. This should not be a one-man job.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Any help you need, I'm more than happy to help if I'm around. We had a couple donations for you earlier. Okay, Okay, so there's a cool trick here. I'll see if I can get it. You can actually do a one tall slide while on jet. Okay, I kind of got it. That was a little weird. And we're through. Alright, so we're gonna use the dust weapon for the rest of the stage. Pretty technical section. Good. So Skull is very much the same as he is on Nintendo, so you can't kill him while you have shield up. Pretty decent fight. Killed him before you threw up the second shield. Alright, so we're coming up to a Dive Man. I would say Dive Man is the hardest stage to master because it's a water level. Nobody loves water levels. Yo, what's up, KLM? If killing myself is part of it. I don't know what my pace is right now. 1930 for this game alone.
You settled in nicely, though. I mean, it's understandable. When that first one happens, it can get a little but you settled in.
Exactly. Like last night I ran Mega Man 4 last night on RGL, and I took the Pharaoh stage twice, I died in Toad Man, I did pretty much everything I wasn't supposed to do, but I got 7 out of 10 goals in the second half of the game. So I was bittersweet. Okay, just gonna take it safe here. There's a lot of very precise jumps and they all lead to spikes. Okay, we got one. We're through. That's one of the hardest sections to master.
The stage shouldn't exist.
I don't know what they thought with Mega Man 3. They're like, this is... let's just rank it.
You're not even to the worst part yet.
I don't think so, no. So, to tell you how hard it is, this game was hard, and you can pretty much tear any game it feels like apart. So, to tell you how hard it is, cool, we got the swag spark.
Oh, ninja whales.
Is that how we call them in Atlantic? I got a shadow refill. Not necessary, but it does help. So I'm gonna use Rush here. So you can cross these by foot, but you have just enough ammo with Rush Jet to clear it.
This is a whole bunch of no thanks from me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I'm not even done. I could have jumped up there, but sure, they had more spikes. So you want to shoot Jet just as you start coming down so you can kind of skim the last part. I was just looking at the graphics so you can see why I feel like doing that. Dive Man is very similar to the NES version. Shoots his little missiles and torpedoes towards you. I could take a D-boost here for fast, but safety beats fast right now. He does pack a punch if I take too much body damage.
Is it like Mega Man 4 body damage style where it does like 8?
Most of the bosses in this one do 4 or 2 with their weapon. For some reason, Drill does 6 body damage. The Crusher enemies, whatever they're called in this one, do 8.
Drill this.
Right. So we've got drill. Drill is still hard to go extremely fast in. It's got a lot of movement and stuff to do, but in terms of difficulty, this is definitely a dial down before the last stage. So we basically want to use Skull Shield through everything, or most of it, so that the drop actually helps, because I use quite a bit right at the start. You can deboost this hammer. I'm going to opt not to for the same reason that I've explained everything else I haven't gone for. You can deboost it and walk through the spikes. We'll walk through the spikes here though. You can get hit by the bat and just skip this whole section. Let's see if Eddie gives us a refill for his shield here. He did not. But we got 2 free E-tanks. They're like, okay, this game was a little difficult. Here's 2 E-tanks.
In a kind of scary location. Those platforms are deceptive, man. I've made it far enough in this, and I've tried it enough to know that those platforms are deceptive after playing the NES one, and then being spoiled by the Genesis one.
They open at a rate, like your reaction time. Like emulator players, for example, could probably have a lot of trouble with those. We're doing okay here. We're coming to the last section. I was worried about the exact ammo there, so that small refill was bona fide. So the cool thing about Drill in this one is you can hit him while he dies. And of course he's just gonna die because I said that. Oh no, 2 dies. Alright, Punk is next. Punk is like Wily's destructive machine of this game. This is the next machine that will take Mega Man down. He's actually pretty cool looking. If you look up art for Punk, it's pretty awesome. Forgot to jump in the door. Jeremy would be upset because that's free frames. It actually lunges you forward in the cinematic so you don't walk as far. But did I see that Kellen gave 1,000 bits as a donation? Or was that for something else? So that was definitely slow, but you want to kill him in before he flies around a second time. Alright. Time for the best music on Mega Man, Wily Machine Fortress. I probably won't talk a lot for this stage as well. There's a lot of weapon switching and timings to be aware of.
I don't want to talk about this.
Take a moment to enjoy the song. Oh. I have to E-tank early. That's why I said I had to focus. I was on screen 3 and I had to E-tank. Switch to dive here for the climb. I'm gonna do the climb that I know, but there are ways to climb this faster using brush coil on the edges where the enemy. But it's extremely precise and not something I have practiced yet.
I love how they managed to make dive missile track better in this one than the NES.
This game has a lot of positive, like it's easy to say, oh, it's a Game Boy game, bad, but this one they've done a really fantastic job.
I just found it lagged more than 5, and I've never played 4.
Yeah. Focus time. So definitely slow to wait here. Yeah, I don't want to die there. So you can actually make it before I stop there. A lot of downwards screens here as we make our way to the second Susie. Way too many refills to my liking.
We heard you like Shadow Stars.
Here's some shit, especially through Amazon Prime. So this fight is no different than the first one. They just decided, hey, why one? I have to E-tank here, which is kind of scary because the last boss hits quite a bit. I'll switch to dust here. Oh crap. Let me I have to take some safety precautions, like getting hit there anyway. Probably die at some point here. I'm speaking very specific. Yeah, that word. Speaking bad. At least I didn't get hit by that guy. We might be okay here. Coming up to the final boss. I'm on a 30, well, my PB's 36, so I'll be like quite a bit behind. Should be a sub 33. So this boss has the safe spots here in the corner. You want to do charge shots in his eyes. That's the only thing that hurt him. And you want to kill him when he's coming to the left for the next phase. Right here. Okay, so you switch to Punk. You stand right here. Your foot kind of touches the heel touches those little dotted lines. You basically just do short jumps and throw punks at the capsule at the top.
Somebody just stands there all squinty.
Oh, he's happy. He's like, finally, I get out of this capsule. Alright, that's Mega Man 3. Definitely could have been worse. We're off to Mega Man 4.
I need to find a copy of Mega Man 4.
I believe, well, if you're getting it, get wrong. But, yeah, I believe they're like 30 or 40 bucks right now. It's more affordable than some of those obscure titles that are overpriced.
PG, by the way.
No problem. So I'm actually 44 seconds behind my PB pace of 1 to 5, so given that I've been through 3 games, I really can't complain. This is the one I probably have the strongest time in, so any mistake will probably set me back. On the flip side, Mega Man 5 is probably the one that I've done the worst, so I would have the most chance of improving. So we still got a chance here at everything. My secret goal in my head was to, during this marathon. So we'll see. Can't promise. So in this section you want to shoot the mummies in their feet, because if you hit the head it actually counts as a different enemy body part. I'll just focus here because I'm going to do one tall slide, it's crazy like that.
The Charge Buster recoil is so strange, but it's kind of neat. It's different.
We're through. Ooh. Probably the most difficult stage, or maybe not difficult stage, but most difficult section of the entire game right there. Yeah, the knockback actually takes a while to get used to. It actually sets you back quite a bit in terms of total time in the game. Like
Yeah,
if you
the
use it
knockback
too much, which I do.
It's hard to get used to.
Now he's supposed to do some Pharaoh shots. He's not being cooperative at all. He's like, I'm just gonna be a jumpy dude. I agree, Keelan. These games are very hard, but like I was these games are extremely rewarding as well. So, if you have some time, you don't know what to learn, maybe you've never tried Game Boy games before, which was my case. I believe Cab is calling for help in the runner's room. Bring up his ringman stage. So this one you have to be careful with your health because there's some key you used to do towards the end, which I will go for at least one of them. Oh, not supposed to charge here. So I didn't mention it yet, but one thing they introduced in this version of the game is the P chips, which are currency. There's actually a shop that you can visit. There's even some mandatory visits. We will actually be using that later in the run. Oops, not supposed to grab that letter. That can is a pain. If I would have kept climbing there, it would have knocked me back down. Alright, we got a Pharaoh refill, which is actually a nice safety net as we use more here. You have a lot of health as well for this the last vertical climb. There's probably like 3-4 screens. We'll grab a large P-chip right there, which is basically facing the other way, so virtually no time lost there. I want to have 100 and is it 120?
Cat mentioning cookies. I've eaten so many cookies today.
C is for cookie. That's good enough for Strezzer.
Cookie, cookie, cookie.
Alright, we're through Ringman. Next up is Toadman, which I would say he is free, but I did die yesterday, so I can't even talk about the spot anymore in bad.
Toadman would say he is free, but
He would very much be the first stage for a casual player, much like the NES version. He operates exactly the same way and everything. There is some rain as well, which halts my speed and jump and also causes lag later. Just killing some rats and some bubble things, whatever they're called. We'll use some Pharaoh shots here to kill stuff off screen as soon as possible. That way there's no lag, or little. Here, this is the first mini boss. We don't care, we'll just hop on his back and carry on. That was a good shot. Alright. All things considered, that was good lag management. We didn't fall in the one tile pit like yesterday. Coming up the last section here, you just want to use Pharaoh shots to kill the fishies and the enemies before they even have a chance to do anything to you. And we actually use one Pharaoh shot during the fight, so it's all conveniently done with a single weapon. Kill this last one. I'm gonna do one Pharaoh shot charged, which will save 2 ring shots. Switch to ring right away during the rain. Finish right in the middle. Perfect fight. To my standards, anyway. So this is an 8:15 pace after Toad, which is about 16-second lead on my PB. I don't jinx anything. It's going well. I believe Cab has joined us. How are you, Mr. Cab?
I am here. I was waiting for this nice little break for Toad. I guess you're past Toadman by now.
Yeah, it says you got Rain Flush.
Nice. I'm only just seeing that now.
How are you, Cab, and what's going on? Tell me how was your day?
it says you got
It was a good day. Baby slept. Got some managed equipment in an RPG, you know. Normal stuff.
Some RS, maybe?
Tails.
So, this is Brightman. Do you know any King Cab?
I've got the game. I'm just a little behind you, but I mean, Brightman stage is basically, it's very similar to the NES one. You still have those enemies that can kind of darken the screen, light things up. There are a couple of different sections. Like I think the lever section, yeah, there it is, where the you have to pull the switch to have these platforms come down. It's nothing too bad. It's just a little laggier, just like everything else in
I'm
this
just
game.
gonna have to focus here. Sorry to cut you off. I'm doing that thing. Yeah, the thing I want to show it. Okay.
It's pretty tight timing here to be able to cancel Rush, basically summon him again and keep going. but it is faster than riding that platform the whole way.
Yes, sir. Very poor menu following. But
Any one of those like spike coils you can walk away from is a good one.
more of these.
I do also still really appreciate that the Ring Boomerang's hitbox is big in this game. NES 4, it's like such a small weapon in this game. We actually use it because there's a bigger hitbox.
Yeah, probably.
And it's actually a boomerang.
Exactly. They're just for you. You'll see it in a few seconds why I said that.
Get the E, why not?
Actually, it reduces lag. I do it, but if you don't do it, ultimately you miss the letter and it lags all the way up, down in the hole. So you want to grab it if you're gonna have at it.
Just everything lags the game.
Make
Yeah,
it lag.
Brightman, unlike the NES version, there's no like trick here. Just rain flush them. I guess the nice thing about it is if you are using rain flush, it hits them twice instead of once per use. But we're using, at least opening the fight with some Pharaoh.
Yeah, I shot it one too many times there. I was supposed to do one charge, one small, and switch, and I forgot.
Yeah, it works out, honestly.
So, unlike yesterday, I've done only each stage once, and I haven't died.
Let's go. I guess now we start the praying for the good satellite RNG.
Exactly.
Although I still think this is like the best cutscene in Mega Man.
It is the best cutscene, but if you hate cutscenes, you probably have about a minute to clear your bowels.
Well, in a 1 through V run, I mean, this is also a nice. This is the bathroom break cutscene.
Yeah, I'm going wild. I'm sticking it.
All right.
Since you love details, though, Cap, I did do it before the run.
Oh my. Well, I mean, yeah. It's always this is like the trope with any sort of long run when you're talking about like RPGs and everything else. It's like, where are the bathroom breaks hiding? You always have to know that.
So, in case you're curious, Cab, at the start of this game, I was 44 seconds behind my PB pace, and this is a pretty good pace as well. So we're definitely on track to do something good.
Yeah, just keep going.
If you're watching my stream, you probably see all my splits, actually.
Yeah, that's where I'm watching it. Going for the minimal delay.
Doesn't seem too bad based on what you're saying. It's maybe 3-4 seconds.
It's probably a little more than that. I've played these games enough, either fortunately or sadly, to kind of have an idea of where you are. Nice shot for the first cycle there. Oh my god, the one cycle, the dream.
This is
How far behind was I?
giddy moment of this run. Actually, the second. Not dying in Dustman was my first giddy. Coming up is Imperfect Cell for you Dragon Ball Z fans. I like to say that every time because Ballad looks very much like Cell in my opinion.
Looks very much.
Is it Imperfect Cell or is it Android Mega Man Killer 3?
I'll let you decide. You research whatever you want to research. And
I'll go with Imperfect Cell. I'll go with it.
coming up with angry mirror on my face guy. I mean, Crystal Man.
Oh, I hate Crystal Man stage. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Ooh, I almost died there.
Don't almost die.
I should stop saying stuff too quick. That way you get the surprise.
No, that's all right. Crystal Man stage has a lot of throwback elements to the NES version of the stage. It does have some new stuff too later on. And there's even a lot of points where you might be thinking, man, if only we had Rush Jet. And I forget, I think it's not this stage, but it's still faster to go Crystal first.
Oh, jeez. I did everything to avoid that and you still hit him. When there's a large refill like just ahead of me. So one thing we haven't talked about is in Mega Man 4 to get to the wireless stage you actually need one letter from each of these Mega Man 5 bosses.
You must spell Wily. Wily. You must collect the Wily letters.
Shout out
Except
to
this
Sprite
isn't
for
Mega
not
Man.
saying anything for 20 minutes, but that was an opportune moment to say something.
You have to get both W's.
I appreciated it.
So we're gonna do 2D boosts here coming up because I'm fortunately full HP. The enemies there cause a ton of lag on top of the section itself being extremely technical, so pretty happy that I'm unscathed. Is that a word? Unscathed?
That's a word. I feel like that's like probably one of the worst rooms in this game just because it's like a lot of damage or a lot of time. You have to pick one. And of course we want to go fast, so
A lot of the 90-degree angles.
you've got the right idea.
Time spent after work.
You set him up, I'll knock him down.
Guys, can I have the day off? I need to practice the thing you don't even know.
That jump actually from a few screens ago by now with the like one like enemy you kind of shoot out the platform and you go over spikes. That's probably also one of the harder jumps in this game. It's a little bit of a stopper at first.
Yeah, if you don't do it quick enough, he starts moving away, and too much, you miss it.
Crystal Man is the robot master in this game that kind of has a soft weakness to one of the first half of the game weapons.
So Crystal is weak to ring. What? Is he afraid people's gonna come after him or something?
The jewel puns.
Jeweler Man 9 here.
Napalm, probably the easiest stage on paper. Still cause for caution.
I think you're actually right. Napalm Man, the biggest threat in Napalm Man are these missiles that pop out of the ground whenever you jump or you approach the pit. You know, it's that classic sort of Mega Man enemy.
It's like
And it's the reason I have trust issues with any pit in any Mega Man game. You do still have the sort of like drill bore enemies, except in this game they usually move away from you and you end up riding them as platforms. Kind of a weird twist on Napalm Man stage.
And didn't count my peat chips. Hopefully I have enough, but I took some safety large ones.
Yeah, I believe the magic number we're looking for is 70.
80.
80. Ooh.
Yeah, I've lost runs in the past, just not thinking of those things. If you guys have seizures, now's a good time not to look. Because to satisfy Cab, I am going to stop everything from coming out of holes.
Yeah, Flash Stopper is a weapon. Very useful one, even if you only have so much of it for the rest of the game. And there's an eye. I know Strizer's thinking it. Go ahead and say it.
You might be saying, I'm too busy doing other stuff at the marathon.
Man, I was waiting for the eyes have it, but okay.
Nail on the head. I got distracted. I'm sorry. I dropped the ball.
It's fair. It's fair. It was a bad joke anyway. I apologize.
Was it the left or the right?
There's more than one.
Well, everybody has one of each, and are we not assuming a group of people?
Well, with that segue, I'll say Mannix is now equipping the Crystal Eye. Oh. Napalm Man's weakness. It's basically the same fight as the NES. The thing that makes me curious is why there's like 2 boss corridors there. It just feels weird.
3 boss doors. Rip.
Napalm Man's really hold up here. Shame he didn't have better patterns than NES Napalm Man, because... yeah.
So somehow I lost time in the automatic section there with the step. That never happened before. I was playing around. Time for some rock.
Stone Man stage in the Game Boy game is actually pretty annoying. There's just a lot of tight jumps. Some of them have enemies that are just in the right place, plus the recoil on the Buster in some spots. So Mannix is gonna just be a little careful here. He knows what he's doing, though. I saw his strats yesterday.
That Buster shot actually didn't hit it.
Oh, man. If you missed the hippos from Ringman stage, don't worry, here they are. Or here they were, I should say.
This is why I asked Cap to talk on my games. Only things Cap would say.
I mean, it's true. Not many people miss hippos, so...
Unless it's another hippo looking to mate.
Oh, man.
What
It's
about
already gone,
house
isn't it?
hippos?
I just want to know if they were hungry before they got blown up. Ringman's weapon again, kind of the savior here for its hitbox. You can kill most of these enemies with the Buster, but obviously the rings, they get underneath that shield. You could use a full charge shot, but who wants to wait to charge the Buster when you have 2 rings? You got these, I don't know, collapsible traffic cone hockey puck enemies. I don't know what else to call them.
That's the most Canadian Mega Man anime.
I just call them pylons.
I should have thought of that one. Oh, there's a letter here, by the way. I think that's the only reason the surprise spikes are down there. It's like, if you forget the letter, and it's like, oh no, what do I do? Because otherwise, either way, you have to complete the entire second half of the stage again. So get out your happy stones.
Dance didn't go so well. Didn't want to party. You can actually make him dance, do short jumps over you the entire fight. Time for some choo-choo.
Now, the question that went unanswered yesterday is, who was the chicken room dedicated to?
The chicken. I don't know.
The Colonel.
Dedicated to the chicken itself. Wow.
The Colonel.
Dedicated to an X4 robot, the Colonel.
7 herbs and spices.
Oh man. So Charge Man stage actually does look relatively simple, even if it's another one of these long stages. I think the gotcha that's in here, besides the fact there are a lot of chickens and there's just a lot of damage that piles up over time, that train bouncing up and down all the time, there's too many instances where if you like take these spike jumps too casually, the game's gonna mess with you and you're gonna miss the jump.
Yeah, there are actually 3 tile spikes, and even if you slide jump them, they're pretty tight. When I played it casually, I was actually switching to rush coil for those jumps. And they're about a minute time loss if you die.
That is the... We just passed like the literal chicken room. It's only a chicken.
Don't worry, there'll be more.
That's right, there's another one. Can we dedicate it to Streiser for hosting all this? I'm gonna play up the crowd here.
The game over chicken cancer.
Yeah. And so Charge Man, again, is weak to everyone's favorite Mega Man weapon in Power Stone. He's probably already dead on the other side of this stream, though, because Power Stone in this game spawns pretty much directly inside Mega Man, so it's a lot easier to connect with it. Just like hang out in Charge Man's hitbox the whole fight.
Just want to shout out KLM calling you Mayor Cab. You are a smooth talker like the mayor, so you never know.
Oh man.
Except when you go, yeah!
Yeah! Charge Kick, not really seen in this run.
Nope.
Charge Kick does have a couple of uses, but it's still faster to kill Crystal Man without it. There's a few blocks in the later stages that you can destroy with it. And that's for this level of a speedrun's purpose. That's mostly for safety if it came down to it. You got this mini stage here with sort of the magnets. It's like they implemented this really laggy, kind of neat concept for like one room and forgot about it. You know, it's your friend Actual Cell.
Yeah. How did you know? Did you guys talk before this run?
I totally don't work for the Red Ribbon Army. That's my story, and I'm gonna stick to it.
They gave him some killer shades, though.
They did.
He kind of looks like Cool Cat.
They're like Oakleys without the brand. Hopefully without the price, because he doesn't look like he has a good job.
You mean those ads that I get for like 95% off? But those aren't real.
Here we have the wonderful missile.
This kind of long escape section, really both this and the previous edition of it, somewhat inspired that Mega Man 10 downloadable stage, if you've played that and you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I did not, but I don't want to play it if this is in it.
Well, this is, the back doesn't come out from behind you. So it's just kind of the destroy missiles to move on idea. But it's kind of your standard blow up some parts of the stage to move on sort of puzzle. Fortunately, with the new Ballad Cracker, you're already seeing it. You can fire it in, I think, all 8 directions.
Yeah,
So
it's a-
that, along with Pharaoh Shot, get you out of here. Which leads into Mega Man 4's enforced shopping trip.
Now, I'm curious, you mentioned something yesterday. Skip text with the D-pad. I never wondered if it worked in this one.
Oh, the D-pad. I'm not sure if I tried it in this one.
I'm not going to for the sake of this run. I don't want to mess up the Japanese
That's fair.
menuing here,
That's
but
What we're talking about here is that in the Mega Man 5 Game Boy shop, the D-pad will speed up text. So it can be, it's just another button mashing technique you can use to speed things along. Nothing major.
80 that we need. Sorry, did I say 100 earlier? I said 80.
So because in these games you don't get your weapon energy back in stages, Mega Man 4 and 5 Game Boy, you can actually buy an item at the shop to get a weapon energy refill. It's instant use. Little cheaper than buying the S-Tank, M-Tank, whatever we're calling it today. I know it's S-Tank on Game Boy. And that should give us all the weapon energy we need for the rest of the run. So the surface of, I guess, the Wily station here has a lot of missiles and has these two Met cannons. They die pretty quickly if you can get on top of the turret. You also get sort of the miniaturized version of the Mega Man 3 final boss here. And at the end of this stretch, we fight kind of, I think we just call it the Crane. Kind of lobs Power Stones and napalm bombs at you, and otherwise dies in short order to a few Pharaoh shots. Chibi Mega Man 3 boss, I like it. I forgot it had ring.
Just need focus for the next 15 seconds. We're good.
There's a lot of missiles and pits in this stage, which again is why I have trust issues with pits in Mega Man games. It's also these, there's two of these rush jet sections. They are equally dull. I do like this strat of kind of dropping on the screen and trying to drop a bomb on the chicken's head.
Which I've horribly missed for you. I'm missing everything as well. I'm gonna take a safety tank here.
Yeah, there are other E-tanks here in these stages, so. Bright lasting a lot shorter than it does on the NES version. Kind of on top of, I don't think the slide trick works anyway. And kind of the mid-stage boss here is actually the first of two sets of eyes. Is the boss the eye or the lag it generated?
Pardon me?
Was the boss the eye, or was it the was it all that lag?
I thought there was only one eye earlier. Yeah, it was the extra copies of himself that he generates. I played that fight very poorly. You're supposed to clear all three of them in a specific manner and hit them at the same time. None of that happened.
More mummies down here. Some other just stuff. Getting on Rush Jet to make sure you get over that chasm, always annoying. Yeah, kind of the free tank right there if you want to switch to ring to grab it before you fight the next pair of eyes. This pair doesn't really kind of divide, it just kind of goes around. They have only one life meter though, so anytime you can kind of get them both with a shot. Fun. One last appearance of Chibi Boss. I don't think there's really any real capsule order here. It's just sort of take them all in order.
I do have an order because I finish off Bright into with a Buster Shot because Pharaoh is after. And I do ring before I do what's his face? Crystal, because I'll use the last Pharaoh shot if I have one remaining to kind of hit him in the beginning when he's in the air.
Seems legit.
Pharaoh's extremely easier with a flatland.
Pharaoh man, stop jumping.
I have not gotten good art today. And I'm very low on Pharaoh here. I think I'll be short to kill him. Actually, I'll be okay if I just take 3 full shots. Definitely slow, but better than dying. So the bot is saying that I've been streaming for 7 hours, and I should probably have a drink. I'm pretty sure that's everybody been playing for 7 hours.
Everyone remember to stay hydrated.
Something I haven't done in this run so far.
I mean, we hydrated Brightman. I think that's okay.
Yeah, if you can't hydrate yourself, hydrate your friends. Or your enemies, I guess. I understand if you have nothing to say after that.
I'm feeling a bit parched. George Carlin used to have a bit where he would actually get the microphone right up against his throat as he swallowed some water.
You have an explanation to everything you say, unlike me.
Here's the thing. Is it better to have an explanation for everything, or is it better to have no explanation than a bad explanation? You do a...
So, I'm gonna ask a special favor of you. There's 3 forms to the last boss. I'm so sure I remember.
Mm-hmm.
You see at the bottom where it says, well, underneath my main timer, there's another. See?
Oh, you want me to keep an eye on what the game time is?
Yes, because I am potentially on world record pace here. I said it. Which is 41:27.
Yeah, you got some time. It's gonna be pretty tight though. This first phase is a bit of, well, actually no, they're all RNG bosses for each phase. The first phase is weak against Crystal Eye, and the hard part is actually getting up to actually shoot him with the damn thing.
Which I did a horrible job at right now. Get the world record. Oh. This is probably the worst fight I've ever had of this fight. Alright.
I'll say it's because you said world record pace.
I believe so.
Also, I actually forgot this phase existed.
I also won't get the one cycle for the second phase because I said it. My PB is 4237. Let's look at that.
The head of the Wily machine here. You can kind of shoot it in the mouth. Nice. Each cycle then has this 6 shots from the antennas. Then the head charges you. You can decide to pummel it with buster shots to kind of stall it, and that stops the charge from hitting Mega Man. Otherwise, this is the next best strat.
I apologize for
Just
the normal
hit.
words, guys.
All right, you destroyed the giant Dr. Wily robot. Definitely not a capsule boss coming afterwards.
We'll let our viewers find out.
Oh, I heard it. 42. Oh my god, it ended in a 4.
42-40. It's a good time either way. Like, I can't complain. It's not a PB, but it's basically a PB.
I want to look back and say it might have been 24.
Now, here's a game that you can talk a lot.
Mega Man 5 Game Boy. I might know something about this game. This guy we're going to the Poseidon planet, right? Neptune? Okay, planet names. Got it. Seriously though, this is Mega Man 5. This is the original Game Boy game. It has Star Droids, which are the effective robot masters. They're all named after planets, or they're named after Pluto. Pick one. Pretty good game, and actually opens up somewhat immediately with this pretty tight helicopter section. If you do it optimally, you can kind of get through this entire section in like just under 40 seconds. I think Mannix did the next best thing. You already are probably picking up on the Buster being slightly different in this game. Mega Man fires his entire fist because the Star Droids are made of something that a normal charge shot, if you watch the opening cutscene, it just doesn't work. So we get the Mega Arm. Don't ask me why lemons still work. The rest of Neptune stage, you're already seeing it. There's a lot of gas jets just everywhere, and there's a couple of drops where Mannix is going to take advantage of them to do some damage boosting down onto the next screen. This is, then you are stunned during the screen transition. You can break out of it and keep those iframes. Did you get the pipe jump? Nice!
No, wait before you say nice.
Oh no, don't do that!
I got like the most difficult trick of the stage followed by the worst trick of the stage.
Unlike the Mega Man 3 NES jump where everybody yells 5 frames, I think you had Tremaine has said you have like 2 or 3 frames to make that jump. And making it saves like 3 or 4 seconds. Not making it, but still sliding anyway as soon as you can still saves time over waiting for the steam jet to die out.
I'm really low.
I guess it saves 3 or 4 seconds over not making the jump, and then not making the jump still saves time over not even trying it. So as long as you have 4 hit points, try it. Well, you need more than 4 hit points because that's how much damage it does. Neptune is the stage in this game where you basically need to be ready to fight the boss with no life left if you took every unintended hit and still made it to the end. Also, the second half of the stage is ridiculously long. So hopefully you're not in a race and dying near the end because you go all the way back to the entrance of the sub. Neptune's pattern, hopefully we only saw the giant saltwater orbs. If you're too far away from Neptune when he decides to attack you, he does this jumping up and down thing. Oh god. I don't like this. Max, are you okay? Are you okay? Strizer, what's going on?
He's dancing.
I think the stream is shaking.
Oh my god. So anyway, Neptune's weapon is really good. The saltwater orb you were seeing in that fight, you can kind of hold the D-pad to kind of direct it as you're firing it. It does a ton of damage. It's really useful. It also is the most expensive weapon at 2 energy per shot in this game.
That lag is worse than the Noodle laser. I firmly believe it.
Oh, it's
And I'm glad I
so
can
bad.
showcase it in a marathon. Shout out to Cool Kid in the chat.
So next we're going to go the Mercury stage, kind of the industrial conveyor belt kind of stage in this game. And I'm going to kind of wait to see how Mannix manages it, because they're really, between me and Tremaine, there's kind of 2 thoughts on handling the stage. Use Neptune early or use Neptune late. Looks like Mannix is using Neptune early. It's useful for shooting down these birds, and basically because it does a lot of damage, it's nice for just, well, taking out a lot of enemies in one hit. There's a little bit of surprise spike fall there. There are ways to kind of, just get around that. There's also a lot of P-chips there. This game's route has a 30 P-chip requirement for the first 4 robots. If you don't get it in a marathon, not a big deal. You just shop later for your W tank. But that drop has 20 P-chips in it, so when you're kind of wondering where you're going to get them, if you're not sure, that's an easy place to do it. So, the Crusher section here. Let's just kind of get through it. The first enemy on the other side of this next screen actually is a pretty tight window to get a kill in. Nice. The rest of the stage isn't that bad. It's just kind of make sure you don't run into the kind of, I don't know what to call these dust crusher sort of robots.
You are not allowed to commentate for me anymore.
I'm not. Oh my goodness. I mean, conveyor belts. What can I say?
Guys in chat, spam your hammer time.
That's
emojis.
actually-
Stage in a method that I don't.
That's all right. The biggest problem with this stage, and like a lot of stages in this game, is if the route calls for you to take a lot of damage, well, gotta look out. And of course, this is the last stage where damage is really a huge concern. Even though you'd have to take it, there are ways. Now you get to see this this sort of robot in full effect. The dust crushing lag generator. Good call getting the health there.
Something I should have done the first time around.
That's all right. So, Mercury, as a robot master or star droid, whatever we're calling him this week, has really only 2 patterns. When whenever he's on the side of a room, including the start of the fight, he will shoot the grab buster at you. And if you get hit, you start losing P-chips, E-tanks, whatever, like, valuable item you have and don't want to lose. But after he gets hit, he will cross the room, and he has two ways of doing that. That bouncy pattern, and probably by now you're seeing the faster zip across the floor pattern. And that's controlled by whether he has an even or odd number of hit points. So what Mannix is doing here is kind of manipulating the fight to kind of get the fastest set of crossing patterns. You might be thinking, well, hang on a second. I only saw 2 of the fast patterns. I saw 2 of the slower cross-the-room patterns. What's up with that? And it's just a matter of it's still valuable to kill him in as few passages across the room as possible. So there's 2 of those long patterns to go with all the other fast patterns, and whatever we beamed out by now, we saved some time.
So that was a little bit of an atrocious Neptune, or Mercury, sorry.
Nah,
Using
that
my
happens.
safe haven.
You're playing 5 Mega Man games in a row, dude. Don't worry about it.
That's one of the hardest things I find. It's like you don't feel exactly good at any of them.
It's still good.
Mind you, I've practiced as much as I can. I believe I did one of these just about every night in the past 2 weeks.
So Mars's stage has a song in that we like to say it's Mars's stage, super laggy heckin' Mars's stage. I can't hear the music right now, so I'm not going to attempt to sing to it. But there's really a lot of things exploding, a lot of things in the air. It's not very kind to the Game Boy's processor.
Mars the stage. Mars the stage. I'm gonna use your strat here, which you'll see in a
Just a lot of stuff here. If it's what I think you're talking about, it's a sliding area. And you really just have to slide through everything. Even if you don't make that first slide onto the sliding platform, that jetting platform, whatever it is, you always land on the side. I've never actually fallen in that pit.
I was more so mentioning the ladder with the large refill at the top.
Ah, that one.
I usually go underneath, but I didn't feel confident in my hands when I got there.
It's fair.
I just went...
So yeah, we've already pulled out Mercury's weapon at this point. You've probably noticed both from the weapon get screen and from what's going on here, whenever it hits an enemy, the shot turns into a small energy drop that kind of circles back and tries to kind of home in on Mega Man to collect. It also does 2 damage per shot, which makes it a little bit faster than firing half charges all the time. So it's a really nice weapon for the second half of the stage. Let's see if we get these damage boosts. Saw one off of that first spiny. This one... it's really tight to get that damage boost off the missile through the spiny.
Yeah, I still went for it because it's faster.
I'll always go for it. And the nice thing about this, I was saying it earlier, right? You take a lot of damage in this game, but you have a lot of ways of mitigating that damage, and its name is Mercury's weapon. Since you can basically get health back just by using it, it's really nice. It's especially like when you're learning the game, or if you're in a race/marathon situation and you just need health. Yeah, just pull out Mercury's weapon. And Mars is the first opportunity we're going to have to actually use a weakness weapon on a Star Droid. The Mars fight is scripted. He always opens the fight with these sort of missiles. Nice double hit to start it. Although the double hit in the first fight's actually laggier than just hitting him with an extra shot, but not by very much.
I just hold forward and pray.
Yeah, you just have to make sure you're firing the saltwater shots over those missiles, because they will cancel the shot before they reach Mars.
That was a good fight overall.
That was a great fight.
Is my fastest rendition of it, but maybe that frame thing you're talking about would make it a tad faster.
I think we're talking frames.
Nothing to worry about tonight.
So Venus of the old Venus first route. Used to be Venus first, so you could take out those chopper with bubble bombs, but it turns out it's a lot faster to have Mars's weapon for Venus's stage than it is to be able to take out those helicopters slightly faster. So the theme here, you're already picking up on it, I'm sure, are bubbles. You got the ones dropping from the ceiling, and then you've got this kind of long crab and waterfall room. The main strat here is to just, don't get shoved into the pit by the waterfalls, which will also kind of push you through the floor. Oh, drop kill. And just get the lives back at this point, because there's some tricky jumps late in the stage. You don't want to... You've already been able to tell, I'm sure, watching this game, that the stages are really, really long. It's very easy to have a good time in this game and just kind of immediately, one death is like a minute of time loss every time. So imagine going through an entire stage again. Actually, the bubble kill there on the second screen, I don't think we talked about snapback yet. Because Mega Man's hand kind of flies out for each shot, the hand also does damage as it's coming back. So it is possible to kind of kill enemies, both just kind of missing them and having it hit them on the way back, or sometimes if you hit them in the corner of their hitbox, it will automatically hit them twice. Something to kind of be aware of. Actually, that game over also refills the Mars ammo, which is nice.
I believe I auto refill at this point in the game. I mean, from the death, you mean, I suppose.
Excuse me, I've just got to take care of something here.
No worries. So these waterfalls actually cover your stepping stones or the stuff you want, unless you're not moving. If you're not moving, it won't wash you out for a reason that probably every video game cannot explain, because they're video games. Coming up to the worst room. Took it a bit slow, but we didn't die.
Oh my god, sorry about that. But I'm happy you got through the worst room in the game.
This is not going well at all.
Bonking on ceilings, classic. This game does have a couple, not as many, I feel like, as Mega Man 3, where the jumps are just, there's some ridiculous obstacle in your way, like that. I've lost runs in there plenty of times.
I'm just not focused right now. I just need to get back into it.
You got this, dude. You've got this.
I'm doing stuff I've never even seen in my 175-ish runs.
I think we need chat to spam Frank or Z or some other ridiculous emote of their choice. I don't know.
This is the game I've played the least in my history, so I understand that I'm exposed to things.
I mean, this is also, though, right? You're not getting exposed. If anything, this game is kind of showing off how brutal it can be to times. Where like honestly, you've made 2 mistakes really, and yeah, here we are.
Fortunately not. They are like a minute or so each mistake.
Yeah, it's just that each mistake costs a lot of time, and it's so easy to make some of them. There's like no shame in like losing a lot of time in this game, just because of how slow it runs and because of how long the stages are. By the way, here's Venus. So Venus will jump and go into an attack pattern anytime you shoot. So you can kind of use that. With that knowledge, come in the fight. Whether you're fighting Venus with the Buster or with his weakness, the photon missiles, pretty. Well, I need to be careful now because I'm jinxing this run like crazy, right? It's hopefully an uneventful fight.
I think I'm past the jinx.
The worst part of it, honestly, is that the bubbles are all laggy, especially the tiny ones that just float through the air.
I'm just hoping at this point Strizer doesn't start talking because he didn't jinx me yet. He still has a shot.
Strizer, you got to talk about the next boss. I think with you talking, we can one cycle the next boss.
He's muted.
Typical. We love you, Strizer.
We do.
Big hearts all around.
That was the voice of a guy who has 18 screens up and he had to minimize one to unmute himself and tell us that. Shoutouts to Strizer.
That's what Alt Tab is for.
Where's the any key?
So I guarantee nobody in chat's gonna recognize this next boss. It's actually not named after a planet. It's named after a satellite. It's Dark Moon. It's totally not Moon Devil.
I'm going for it, just so you know.
You have to go for it.
That was stupid. I don't even get the 2.
You got 2 hits in, so you can still get a 2 cycle if you're quick on the 5.
I don't know how to do it.
So the right hand strat there is an attempt at getting Easy Devil, which so far only Tremaine's gotten. On the left hand side, really both sides, you can kind of do another strat where you start jumping in the middle of the room on the 4th step and start shooting the missiles then. That's kind of the traditional 2 cycle strat. That said, like most of the devil bosses, once you take a hit, it kind of stuns Mega Man long enough that things become tricky.
Glad it's over. We'll leave it at that.
Easy. You killed them on the right-hand side. So this game's in for a shopping trip. Our only interest is in purchasing a W tank. You actually have enough to buy 2 if you wanted to. You might want to buy 2 because I kind of mentioned some attacks in this game might rob you of items, and we really want to have a W tank for a very late game boss. So having 2 is sometimes a nice backup. But the run only needs 1.
Well, Wally has 2 W's, so.
It's true. It's true. You need the W tanks. You want the Wily beer. Everyone knows you drink Wily beer because light beer sucks. Shoutouts to Bob and George.
Oh, that's the first time I heard that one. Why?
I forget when that was in the Bob and George comic strip in like probably 2002 or something ridiculous like that.
I almost selected Jupiter first there.
Oh my. So the basic plot from here is that Dr. Light saw, oh no, there's more star droids and they're amassing resources for an attack. What are we gonna do? And Mega Man says, let's get them. So that's why Rush just flew off all the way out to Pluto. Unfortunately, Pluto is full of tanks that do 8 hit points of damage to your 19 hit point life meter. So this stage is another one that's routed for damage pretty precisely. Again, you can use Mercury to kind of lessen it, but if you actually play it perfectly, you don't need any health drops to finish it. That said, if you're doing that in a marathon, it's near suicide outside of a PB attempt.
I'm definitely not. I'm gonna go with what I know.
Oh yeah. I mean, besides the healing, Mercury is still just a pretty good weapon to use in general. The falling girders are the other gimmick in this stage. The big ones do a lot of damage, the small ones do not as much damage. Of course, you do still need some to actually traverse the stage itself. Also, I think we kind of alluded to it earlier, like Mega Man 4 and 2 Game Boy and Mega Man 5 Game Boy, the second set of Robot Masters, you do not get weapon energy back between stages. So everything we're using now, including the Mars ammo we used on the Moon Devil, we're not getting that back unless we find a drop for it. That said, you basically need a small amount of weapon drops as the game moves along to be able to finish the run optimally.
Please, a stank. That would be nice right now.
Yeah. So after this mini boss, you meet Proto Man, who is effectively Super Eddie. He has one extra thing he can give you called the S Capsule. It's a instant use S tank. Looks like you got it. Nice. You want it there because you've used so much Mars and Neptune, if nothing else, getting to that point. You probably use some Mercury in most runs. You definitely want to be able to take that last hit against the tank as well. And just in case you use Mercury in the stage, well, Pluto's weak to it, so it's good to have it here anyway.
Shout outs to the RC strats.
Nice.
It was almost smart.
Nice
I could actually bounce.
Rush Coil actually would have worked there. Venus is the other option. Like you just saw there, you want to kind of get 6 hits on Pluto while he's on the ground, and then you need something to do 1 point of damage while he hangs out in the corner. That fight is also scripted. I think the height of his shots can vary, and that's the one thing to worry about, but you can jump. If your strategy is to jump over either one of them anyway, it's not a big deal.
Time for the ridiculousness.
Kumba is referencing Jazzman here. Or KLN is. If those are coming up because I referenced Bob and George, I actually do know. That's the one other side comic I know about there. I'm going to let Mannix handle the stage here, because this Jupiter's the most technical stage in this game. Yeah, the outdoor sections of the stage have low gravity, kind of like Starman stage if you're used to NES 5. We're using Pluto's weapon since every time you use it, and you have to like kind of charge it a little, you actually get iframes at the end of it, which is insanely useful to any speedrunner to just be able to create their own iframes. There's a few strats for a couple of spots in the stage to basically make things easier, because, well, a lot of these jumps can be pretty tight. You're seeing these like really short Pluto dashes on 2 tile sections to be able to get the iframes to then make a jump to something else. And I mean, Pluto, if you charge it just a second too long, you might be doing a full dash off that ledge, and that's not something you want to do. So This stage, there's a lot of things you can do. Did you make it?
I wouldn't be laughing if I
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That last jump, this kind of middle screen here is the midway point of the stage. If you don't get through that, I don't know what to call them other than Jupiter Joes. Yeah, welcome to doing the entire stage over again. It's a massive time loss. Which again goes back to there's plenty of jumps in this game to worry about that don't worry about like your one mistake costing you 2 minutes. It's going to happen. And as we get to the end of the stage, there's going to be more kind of buster kills of some of these enemies. It's still in a like a world record strat sort of setting, faster to kind of Pluto to break dash through them. But you have a couple of problems, mostly in that you probably don't have full health, and you definitely don't have full ammo. So if you get a drop near a ledge, well, it's bad. Let's just leave it at that.
I see heavy breathing in the chat, and I'm heavy breathing.
Yeah.
Heavy breathing. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Well, they also may be heavy breathing because we had a very nice and generous donation from Handsome Jack of $50.
Jacko!
I'm trying to hold my key to push to talk. I don't know if the clapping's coming through.
Thank you so much, man. Much appreciated. And guys, just a reminder that this is for a cancer foundation. Like, you can't go wrong. But even if you give $1 instead of buying a bag of chips tonight, just give one for cancer.
Guys,
You can probably afford a bag of chips too.
I can buy some bags of chips. Get everybody a bag of chips after the marathon. Offer may not be valid anywhere.
I'm trying to focus here, Cattles.
Depends on your flavor request. Chalet sauce chips.
Requesting your dollar request.
So you saw the Jupiter fight a while ago. It is as easy as it looks. Sometimes it goes a couple of extra cycles because you can't hit him during the super laser phase. Oh well. His weapon, the electric shock, is actually the most powerful weapon in this game. It has a decent horizontal reach, has a much wider vertical range than you would expect. And after the first part of the stage, you're kind of starting to see what we're going to see the rest of the stage with the kind of gravity, low gravity, and high gravity sections. And you have these kind of pendulum enemies moving around here too. Their only attack is to lag the game because Capcom thought that would be a good idea.
I showcased it for you guys right there.
So
anything
other notes on the electric shock. You can slide to cancel it, you can jump while you're using it, but you can't actually walk while it's in use. So you have to kind of manage that as you go.
Oh my god.
Can we call it the squiggle beam?
Reset.
Squiggle beam. You can call it squiggle beam.
I am getting really warm and tired. That you need to prepare.
You've got this, dude. You've got this. Always blame the equipment. That was the down button.
And the part where I hit up too much.
Yeah. You can up cancel your slides in this game.
I guess the only fortunate thing is I'm full of everything again. Which I had to receive the S-Tank though.
Actually, yeah, that's true. The game over does refill all your weapon energy, so we do get that. That kind of alleviates any Pluto shortages we had from the first half of the second four. And by that, I really just mean Jupiter stage. There is an Eddy in Saturn stage and another in Uranus's stage. We just got a large weapon drop from Eddy. That's exactly what we want right now, actually. Fill Jupiter back up.
If this was like a really good run, like these were godlike drops and stuff.
Yeah. Actually, that giant spring that we killed with Jupiter a couple of screens ago. Just want to shout out the 3DS Virtual Console version of this game. VB found out that the Electric Shock's iframes are kind of weird in this game. And yeah, sometimes Electric Shock just won't hit the second time when you use it. In fact, in the kind of weapon get demo, it doesn't actually kill the boss. That makes the Saturn fight a little worse too. Saturn is probably the worst boss to try and buster kill in this game because he'll just absorb shots. I was still talking probably after he was already dead on screen because Jupiter is that effective against Saturn. Like, you don't even have to think about the fight, assuming you have any modicum of health left.
Yep. Do you want to talk what happens, though, if you do fight him with the Mega Arm?
If you fire the Mega Arm into Saturn's black hole attack, it just kind of gets stuck there. It can't come back to you. And you're kind of stuck there like, oh no, what do? I can't shoot anything. Doesn't even matter, though, because even if you shot lemons, it would absorb lemons. And Saturn will just do that. And you're basically stuck crying. Wondering why, oh why, did I decide to kill Saturn with Buster? It's literally the only enemy in the entire game that Buster is an outright bad idea. So Uranus is the last star droid. There is this early weapon drop, and then if you're familiar with the Mega Man 4 NES page on the cutting room floor, you might recognize the Sphinx a little bit. There are two strats for kind of killing it. This Jupiter strat's kind of the faster one. It's just also kind of hard to get in there and hit it with Jupiter and maintain your weapon energy for it. There's a rush coil photon missile strat that involves a lot of weapon switching and a lot of pausing. So even though it's that one has some weaknesses as well, so it's kind of pick your poison there. This is Rush Coil's appearance in the run. Otherwise, those two vertical rooms. Eddie, thank you.
Eddie's been good. If one thing about this run is good.
Eddie has blessed the run, ladies and gentlemen. We're moving now, everybody. So you can kind of see Electric Shock working there on those birds. Not just the birds, but also their bullets. Just canceling them. The alternate strat in that room, Saturn. One more mini boss here. End of the stage is a little tricky just because there's a spike ceiling and it's very easy to kind of jump into it, so just don't hold right. Uranus himself, actually a pretty tough fellow. I think most attacks do 1 point of damage to him, except Pluto.
Yeah, those birds I just played super safe.
So, the trick here, because the Pluto Break Dash does the same amount of damage no matter the charge level only affects the distance you run and how much weapon energy you use. You just need to kind of get over there and, like Mannix said, do the dance.
The Waka Waka dance?
It's not only kind of the fast speedrun strat there, it's also just the easy strat. Since anytime Uranus kind of jumps and shakes the floor, the shaking floor will cancel your dash. So you want to get him over there while he's kind of standing still in the corner. It's not that hard to kill with lemons. Even charge shots, I think, only do 1 point of damage. They might do 2. But, I mean, why? You have Pluto Dash. Just use it and Shouts to Deep Digger.
So I read an interesting article today. I'm fake, but apparently scientists have said that the air in Uranus.
Sulfide.
Thought I would mention that because, you know, any lack of concentration right now is important.
So here's Terra. It's Terra on the US cart. Just Earth on the Japanese cart. You gotta have the Earth robot in here. I don't know why Mega Man's not the Earth robot, but here we go. He's got 2 attacks, that laser and that sort of Link to the Past blue ball time-stopping attack. If you do cross the middle of the room, Terra's going to kind of jump and teleport to the other side. Not that big a deal, though.
I'll have to Google it, Kellen, to see if it's true. I'm kind of busy right now.
I also like the conveniently placed Deep Digger blocks in the arena. It's kind of a, I wonder which weapon you're supposed to use situation.
It was a pretty bad Terra fight, but we're through is what I want to say.
All right. So Mannix, you did it. You defeated all the Star Droids. Congratulations on saving the Earth from this threat.
I know, this looks like a free world.
Yeah, it's free. Dude, it's already over.
Wait, have you guys seen all the episodes of Star Wars?
What's that big thing?
It's Death Star.
Why does it have a W on the front? You don't think?
Oh my god, it's also got a W on the back.
Oh my god!
It's Dark Vader.
Darth Wiley.
More iterations of Jet.
Dark Vader.
1-800-RSPACEJET? Rocket?
I don't even know what you said.
1-800-ROCKET?
Rocket?
So here's the space flight to the Wiley star. All these asteroid, meteorites, whatever we're calling them. I think they're asteroids as long as they're in space. Their pattern is always the same, so once you learn it once, you know it. After that, you have 8 of these. I don't know what we're calling them today, but there's 8 of them.
Space Mets.
Space Mets. That's right. Not the Mercury Mets, just Space Mets. They have 4 hit points each. They can move at 1 of 3 speeds. And by the way, Rush can't charge while you're taking damage, the immediate stun. So this can be really annoying. They spawn at random points, and this is honestly one of the biggest RNG points of the run. You basically want all fast-moving ones so that you can kind of maneuver them better. Because even if you get a slow-moving one on the right side of the screen, if you miss and it gets behind you, it kind of stays back there a while. You do have a boost button in Rush to kind of zip for a moment. But yeah, that's that section. These lasers are also scripted. They're in the same position every time.
Let me turn on my task buttons here.
I'm glad you have some task buttons because the task takes care of this boss in one less cycle than us mere humans can. You can only damage it after it fires the super laser. So you basically hold a charge, hit it with that, and then mash to get 2 lemons in there. If you're the task, you get a charge, a lemon, and another charge. And you finish in 3 cycles. Humans, it takes 4 cycles. There's that one early 4-hit cycle instead of a 5, but that should be okay. Yeah, I'm sorry for all the Mr. X fans out there. Dr. Wily couldn't find his fake beard this time. Ah.
Those shots are actually tighter than they feel.
They are. It's really easy to miss one. I mean, fortunately, the attack pattern of the surface here is actually pretty simple. There's no trench run or anything else silly like that. So once we're in, becomes kind of like Jupiter stage all over again, just without the gravity problems. Use break dash as much as possible, kind of get into iframes. There are 2 points where there's kind of a low route and a to the right route. The to the right route is usually a little hidden, and you kind of notice there. You might have seen some of those gray cracked blocks throughout the game, the second half of the game. They can be destroyed by Pluto's break dash. So, speaking of refights, I believe everyone's already seen this robot during the run. Anchor's back with actually no new strats. Good kill.
Yeah. It was low health. So I need to
So every refight is kind of followed by one of these drops. Just don't be on the far right. There's usually a couple of side rooms that have a little bit of a bonus, something or other in them. And once you get down here, these are kind of the last 2 guaranteed weapon drops in the game before the refights, the real refights. So just get past the Joes somehow and get to Quint. Quint doesn't like photon missiles.
That was a slow fight.
This third one, the biggest thing here is don't fall in the spikes. You can get out, but it's a pain. Fortunately, again, Pluto with the iframes. You need Pluto anyway to move to the right here. Nice grab of that E-tank.
I've been practicing it.
It shows.
Of all the things I practiced, it was only that.
Free tank there. And Punk, this time is actually a lot easier because he has a weakness. It's saltwater. Punk is salty about his previous loss. Ooh, almost had the double hit.
Uh-oh.
Double hit there is mostly important from the perspective of, again, Neptune takes 2 ammo per shot. And we need a lot of Neptune for the rest of the game. So that's kind of the surprise drop. Have fun with that when you get there. It's not that bad, but it is there. And our good friend Imperfect Cell here still hasn't learned how to get to the left wall of the room with his hitbox. So have fun with your bubble bombs. Refights, there's nothing really special again in the refights as far as like a concentrated route. The biggest differences generally come for robots that you actually have a weakness for now. Since we haven't mentioned it yet, this game actually has a 9 robot weakness loop.
Not sure what you mean, but go ahead to explain it. I don't need utmost focus here.
Yeah. And Mars, just because of the Neptune shortage, Jupiter is a very good soft weakness choice. You just need to make sure that you have enough to take out Saturn.
Well, let's just play it safe on that regard. Okay.
Just for when you actually get there. After the Mars fight, after the Saturn fight, Neptune's going to be the next capsule. Neptune's weakness is Earth. So no matter what order you took in the first 4 robots, you were never going to have that. Similarly, Mercury's weakness is going to be Saturn. It's kind of this weird loop that they gave you in this game. Most of the strats, though, in like every one of these fights, basically the exact same. Using these spark chasers, it's pretty free. There are a couple of guidelines to it, but you basically let it do its dark. You let the spark chaser do its dark work, and that's it.
You know what? I'm gonna have fun here. We're trying it. You'll see what I mean.
Oh, baby. Coil strats. I mean, the idea is to get him to 1 hit point. So anything that works. In the original fight, I mean, either way, it doesn't really matter. Original fight, you might be worried about getting centered. In this fight, it doesn't matter. Uranus, same deal here. Ooh, you saw like a floor shake there because the initial dash didn't quite reach. So you can see there, not a huge deal. A couple seconds gone, but Mannix handled it just fine.
Not my best Uranus, but like you said, he's gone.
There you go. Use a break dash early in the Mercury fight to make sure you don't lose a W tank to a grab buster. As long as you're standing close to Mercury, Black Hole hits once with sort of the initial sucks enemies in. If you ever use it in a normal stage, you'll see what I mean. And hits again with the kind of circling shot when it splits up.
If you're listening, Strizer, there's probably, like 3 minutes at the most left at the run?
Sounds right.
Sounds good.
So Proto Man's here to give us one more item and try and rob us of 8 seconds.
You did, sucker.
He did it?
He did.
Why? The S capsule at this point is completely unnecessary since the only weapons you really need for the rest of the run are Neptune, a little Pluto, and some Saturn. And of course, because you just went through, boss refights, you've used basically every weapon.
There was also like 8 weapon refills just before that.
Yeah. And you do have to collect it, whatever Proto Man gives you to make the last teleporter appear. So both fists here are weak to Neptune. This is kind of a good case. Earlier, I kind of mentioned you can hold a direction down with Neptune's shot to give it some direction. If you're holding up and you're right up against the fists, you will pretty much always hit it. Since when the fist shakes the floor, it can be hard to jump all the time. Sometimes, like, the floor falls out from under you right when you hit the jump button and you don't jump.
So we have a sad moment. The world pace literally just passed right now. So this is how close I was to making or breaking.
Dang.
But
Next time.
It's Tremaine. Like, it's not like Tremaine has handed anything to us.
So the second fist again, also weak to Neptune. So this one, though, kind of floats across the screen trying to grab Mega Man. So you can kind of use that against it here. You don't want to get it to come down completely against an edge, because if you do that, the game is wise to your plan, and it will immediately go all the way back up rather than going across the screen at all. Kind of has at least a little bit of built-in, oh no you don't, one cycle protection. And Mannix almost got it there. So this is Wily Machine Phase 1. It's kind of a complicated boss here. It has this interesting pattern where it fires missiles, and then a snail head comes out to try and pull you all the way up into the spikes, and then it fires these time bombs out that you need to shoot back into it. And you might be noticing Mannix is having none of that.
None.
That screen transition was Wily Machine Phase 2. I don't know why, but if you kill Phase 1 with Saturn, you don't see Phase 2. If you do have to fight Phase 2, actually, the Spark Chaser is a good weapon because the top ceiling that damages you falls down. You don't have a lot of room to jump and bust the Wily Machine head. But that is DLC. Go ahead.
Here's Commander Keen with a few upgrades.
I
That's all
remember
have
that
to
guy.
say. It's a DOS, little dude. Don't worry about it. Sunstar, the last boss. Actually quite a challenging fight. I did pick up a few E-tanks because I will probably use at least one of them.
Sunstar is fun because every weapon does 1 point of damage to Sunstar. So, since everything does 1 point of damage, and Pluto has some lemons, a common strat here is to kind of use Break Dash along with the lemons, just to gain some iframes to make dodging all of his attacks a little bit easier. Each of the first 2 phases, after you do 6 hit points of damage, Sunstar will destroy the floor. This final phase always opens the same way with this sort of buzzsaw across the bottom of the floor. And then he will jump up. He's actually going to try and use the Rain Flush. And if it works, it destroys the floor again. And this last cycle just repeats. If it doesn't work, you get what you see here. Sunstar is injured. And good guy Mega Man walks up, says, hey, you know, I know this guy, Dr. Light, and maybe we could fix
That was
you.
time, by the way, Strizer. I apologize.
That is time, yeah.
It's a 2 hour, 52 minutes, and 34 seconds, which is 24 seconds above my PB. So, all things considered, with 5 games in a row, marathon setting,
Dude, you crushed it.
I believe I just gave Strizer like 20 minutes to do something or catch up.
Good run, dude. Good run.
Thanks. So I just want to give a shout out to Strizer once again for handling this awesome marathon. Thanks for everyone for watching. I'll definitely be doing these runs more for you guys on my own stream. Thanks for all the commentators that came to hang out. Strizer, Cab, Crazy Ape Boy who is sleeping.
I jinxed the run. You don't have to thank me.
Take a quick break, but stick around. We do have some platform coming up with amps. Take it easy.